Hello, Grantham University. My name is Benjamin Sandoval, and this is my Week 7 project for Intro to Public Speaking. In this project, we were supposed to demonstrate something for the class, and I figured I would demonstrate how to make Mexican wedding cakes. The reason why I chose these is they are one of my most favorite pastries, and I always make them every year around the holidays. I like to make a whole bunch and then take them to all the parties and hand them out to my neighbors, and they've always been a big hit. So I'll share them with you guys, and I'm sure you could probably find the recipe, but this is a recipe my mother gave me. So for starters, what you're going to need to make these is you're going to need half a cup of unsalted butter, a quarter cup of powdered sugar, 1 cup of sifted flour, half a cup of chopped walnuts, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and a pinch of salt. Now when you go to purchase the butter, I like to purchase Land O'Lakes unsalted butter. The unsalted is important. You don't want to buy the salted or else they're going to come out a little too salty. When it comes to the walnuts, you're definitely going to want to buy, you have your choice between I think it's the minced walnuts or the chopped walnuts. I tried the minced walnuts a long time ago and I just found that it was just a little too small. I like the texture of the bigger and chopped walnuts. You can use probably the best vanilla, but I just have simple, what is this called? Imitation vanilla flavor. But it's vanilla extract that you're going to need. You're going to need some powdered sugar, and you're going to need some flour and some salt. Now, you can set the butter out. I don't know if you can see it. Here, I'll pour it in here. The butter, you don't want it to be completely melted. You want it to still kind of be somewhat chunky. Because when I've done it in the past and it was a little too melted, it didn't mix nice enough for you to be able to make it in the balls like the way we're going to need to. So usually I like to add the butter last so I can add all of the dry stuff first. But today, since I was trying to hopefully see you guys could see that this was still somewhat chunky, we'll just go ahead and do that for now. Then we will add the flour. So we're going to need 1 cup of flour. It's about a cup. You don't always have to sift it. If you don't have a sifter, it's not that important, but it does, I guess, help when it comes down to breaking it down. Alright, there goes our flour. We're going to need a quarter cup of powdered sugar. Now it's really important that you stick to the quarter cup on this because a long time ago I thought a quarter cup wasn't enough, and so I went and I added, I think, maybe even half a cup of powdered sugar, and it just turns into glass when you heat it up. So definitely stick to a quarter cup on the recipe. And sorry I couldn't do this in my kitchen. I had to do it out here because my camera for some reason is not wanting to work. So again, you only want a pinch of salt. You don't want a whole lot. I'll just throw the rest off to the side. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of the vanilla. I like to always add a little extra vanilla so I don't worry if it spills over. Now, we're going to have to mix it with our hands here in a minute. You definitely want to take all of your rings off and everything because it is going to get pretty messy and oily on your fingers because of the butter. So I just went ahead and bought a whole half a cup of walnuts for this whole thing. And then you just want to mix it around. And as you're mixing it around, pretty plain and simple. But see how the butter is kind of chunky in there. See, you don't want to melt it all the way. I only did 30 seconds for the butter. And I like to just kind of mix it between my fingers. And as the flour really starts mixing in, it gets into a thicker consistency. This takes a little bit. Yeah, I remember a long time ago I melted the butter completely when I did it, and I had to let it sit inside the refrigerator to cool off for a little while because it was too sticky and it wasn't turning into the balls that I needed it to be. And now you see the mess. That's why you want to take your rings off. So here we go. We have this nice ball of dough. It's still kind of a little more sticky than I would like it to be. It was probably just a little too much butter, except it was half a cup per the single pack that I bought. I could probably add a little more flour to it. Personally, I don't like messing with the recipe too much because sometimes, like one time I added too much flour and it came out a little too dry. But I'm pretty happy with this actually. It looks like it's going to be perfectly fine. You just want to roll it into these type balls. You know, when I'm going to put them on plates, I like to roll them in smaller balls. And then you just want to take them and you can set them on the plate. They're not going to get too much bigger than